When a celebrity death hits the headlines, the news is met with shock, horror, and curiosity. Here are some of the last decade's most tragic deaths and what the coroner revealed about them afterward. Chicago rapper Juice WRLD was one of the biggest rising stars of the 2010s. Born Jared Anthony Higgins, he established a massive following by the age of 21 after releasing a series of hit songs on SoundCloud. In 2017, his debut EP, Juice WRLD 999, came out. Its lead single, Lucid Dreams, peaked at number 2 on the Billboard charts. And the next year, his first studio album, Goodbye and Good Riddance, hit number 4.
If you spread your wings, you'll fly.
Juice WRLD never shied away from talking about his drug use in his lyrics, but as his career took off, his substance use did too. While on tour in Australia, his friends held an intervention. Juice agreed to go to rehab, but it was too late.
I feel like everybody dying young, you know what I'm saying? Not foreshadowing anything or wishing that upon myself.
I know.
On December 8, 2019, he suffered a fatal seizure while security services were searching his private jet. A search that turned up firearms, 70 pounds of cannabis, and 6 bottles of prescription cough syrup used to make the intoxicant lean or purple drink. His official cause of death was listed as an accidental overdose of codeine and oxycodone, 2 opioids known to be dangerous in combination. Philip Seymour Hoffman was one of Broadway and Hollywood's most sought-after actors. After his breakthrough role in 1997's Boogie Nights, he appeared in cult classics and major commercial hits including The Big Lebowski, Almost Famous, and Synecdoche, New York. He won special praise for his role as a cult leader in Paul Thomas Anderson's The Master, and for his portrayal of the author Truman Capote in the biopic Capote, for which he won the Best Actor Oscar.
I did everything I could.
In interviews, Hoffman was open about his history with alcohol and drugs. In a 2011 Guardian feature, he talked about checking into rehab after his 1989 graduation from NYU, saying, "It was pretty bad, you know what I mean? And I know deep down, I still look at the idea of drinking with the same ferocity that I did back then. It's still pretty tangible." But as his career and reputation soared, Hoffman relapsed. In 2013, he separated from his wife of 15 years and moved to an apartment 2 blocks away to stay near his kids. That's where, on February 2, 2014, at the age of 46, he was found dead, a syringe still in his arm. The cause of death was accidental acute mixed drug intoxication. Heroin, cocaine, amphetamine, and benzodiazepines were among the substances found in his system. Cameron Boyce was a wildly popular Disney Channel star, and all the signs pointed to him following in the footsteps of former Disney phenoms like Zac Efron and Miley Cyrus.
I think Cameron of the 4 of us just has the most swag ever.
But it wasn't to be. On July 6, 2019, 20-year-old Boyce went to sleep and didn't wake up. As his autopsy later revealed, Boyce died of an epileptic seizure. He'd been diagnosed with epilepsy 3 years earlier, but his seizures appeared under control thanks to medication. Boyce's official cause of death was listed as sudden unexplained death in epilepsy, or SUDEP, a little understood complication that strikes without warning, but which kills around 2,600 people a year in the U.S., most of them young.
He only ever had 5 seizures in his lifetime.
After Boyce's death, his family created the Cameron Boyce Foundation to continue his legacy and fund epilepsy research. Amy Winehouse's drug and alcohol use was no secret. Propelled to international stardom with the 2006 release of her blockbuster album Back to Black, the British jazz singer was relentlessly dogged by the paparazzi and exploited by the tabloids, which only made her problems worse.
You've got to live in the moment, you've got to seize the day. Seize the day.
In an act of self-preservation, Winehouse stepped away from the limelight, spending almost a year on St. Lucia, then returned to London and went to rehab, where she reportedly kicked drugs and briefly stopped drinking. But on July 23, 2011, the 27-year-old Winehouse was found dead in her London apartment. 2 empty bottles of vodka were found nearby.
And then I just regretted that I wasn't able to tell her to slow down. And then she died.
Her official cause of death was alcohol poisoning. Winehouse had abstained from alcohol for a period before relapsing. Experts say this can prove fatal, as a person's tolerance decreases during periods of sobriety. Glee actor Naya Rivera died tragically on July 8, 2020, at age 33. The circumstances of the fatal accident emerged in news reports, but further disturbing details came to light with the publication of her autopsy report. On the day of her death, Rivera was boating with her 4-year-old son on Los Angeles' Lake Piru when they decided to jump into the water together. Rivera began to struggle, but managed to get her son safely back onto the boat before she drowned. The report noted that she had a history of vertigo and had a sinus infection shortly before her death that might have affected her ability to swim. Her son, who was wearing a life jacket, was later recovered from the boat and placed in the care of his father. Naya Rivera's Glee co-star Cory Monteith was just 31 years old when he died in the early hours of July 13, 2013 in a Vancouver hotel. According to the autopsy reports, he was discovered collapsed on the floor alongside a used syringe and 2 empty bottles of champagne.
You see this young All-American quarterback-looking dude on the show, and you just immediately make assumptions.
His death was labeled an accident caused by combined heroin and alcohol toxicity. 4 months earlier, Monteith had released a statement claiming he was in treatment for addiction. His autopsy noted that his heroin use may have proved fatal as a result of his lowered tolerance, not unlike Amy Winehouse. As one of the stars of the massive Fast and Furious franchise, Paul Walker became a hero to motorheads and action fans everywhere. On screen, he was routinely shown performing driving stunts that would make even the most hardened racer's hair stand on end. Real-life Walker was a race car driver and avid car collector. He loved going fast.
Paul wanted to go for a ride. Wanted to go for a ride in the car, so they went for a ride, and that was the last step we saw of them.
On November 30th, 2013, the 40-year-old actor was killed while riding in a Porsche driven by his friend and financial advisor, former race car driver Roger Rodas. The car slammed into a tree at over 100 miles per hour and burst into flames. The autopsy revealed that Walker suffered severe traumatic injuries from the collision. His body was burned beyond recognition. Rodas also died in the accident. Actor Anton Yelchin was best known for his role as Pavel Chekhov in the Star Trek movie trilogy. Yelchin began as a child actor in the early 2000s, building a vast and varied resume including blockbuster action movies like Terminator Salvation, auteur cinema like Only Lovers Left Alive, and guest spots on shows like ER and Curb Your Enthusiasm.
You're not a magician.
You're not a magician either, Stuart.
I am.
No, you're not.
Mm-hmm.
He was a versatile talent with what looked to be a long career ahead of him. But on July 19, 2016, the actor was found pinned between his car and a gate post outside his home in Studio City, California. It's believed that the 2.5-ton Jeep Grand Cherokee rolled toward Yelchin, trapping him and causing fatal injuries to his chest and head. The official cause of death was blunt traumatic asphyxia. The Los Angeles County Coroner's Office suggested that Yelchin was unable to breathe for around a minute before dying. That particular Jeep model had been recalled in April due to numerous reports of unexpected rolling. Rapper Mac Miller was beloved within the music industry. Among his friends and collaborators were bassist and vocalist Thundercat, rapper Schoolboy Q, and singer and actor Ariana Grande, with whom he had a highly publicized romance. Miller's music is now considered some of the classic rap of the period. His 2011 debut album Blue Slide Park topped the Billboard charts, and his final album Swimming was nominated for a Grammy. Though originally lumped into the frat rap party music genre, what fans connected with was Miller's honesty and maturity. He used his lyrics to discuss relationships, addiction, and the emotional turbulence he was feeling. In 2018, Miller's relationship with Grande ended. A few days later, he was very publicly arrested for DUI. That August, during interviews about the release of Swimming, Miller claimed he was doing well. But on September 7, 2018, a month after the album's release, he was found dead.
I had a drug problem, for a long time. It wasn't just in music.
Miller's official cause of death was an accidental drug overdose, with fentanyl, cocaine, and alcohol listed in the report. The report also described a tattoo, an hourglass, and the words, "Only so much time left in this crazy world." To fans of daytime TV, actor Kristoff St was a near-constant presence for almost 3 decades. He began his career as a child actor back in 1979 with a breakout role on Roots, The Next Generations, and appeared on both Happy Days and The Cosby Show. As an adult, he made guest appearances on Diagnosis Murder, The Jamie Foxx Show, and more. But he was undoubtedly best known as Neil Winters, the character he played from 1991 until his death in 2019 on the long-running CBS soap opera The Young and the Restless.
There's light. There was light at the end of the tunnel that I wasn't aware of, and now it's here, and I'm bathed in light, and man, it feels good.
But in 2014, his son Julian took his own life. Afterward, the actor often took to social media to express his feelings of grief and loss. Then, on February 3, 2019, the 52-year-old St. John was found dead in his home. The autopsy declared his cause of death to be an accident due to hypertrophic heart disease, with alcohol as a contributing factor. James Gandolfini was one of the most respected actors of his generation. He trained as a stage actor and cut his teeth on Broadway before his career-defining portrayal of Tony Soprano, the therapy-seeking mob boss in HBO's classic The Sopranos, for which he collected 3 Emmy Awards. By the early 2010s, Gandolfini's career was still on the rise, with starring roles in acclaimed movies like Killing Them Softly and Zero Dark 30. But tragically, on June 19, 2013, the actor collapsed and died while on vacation with his son, Michael, after spending the day touring Rome.
He died of a heart attack of natural causes.
There was no alcohol or other substances found in the toxicology report. His family was unaware of any underlying health problems at the time of his sudden death. He was 51. Pennsylvania-born rapper and songwriter Gustav R., better known as Lil Peep, quickly shot to fame during his short career. Peep and his family moved to New York when he was 4 years old, and as a teenager he began posting music on SoundCloud under the name Trap Goose. By 2015, he'd become Lil Peep and was gaining popularity, releasing mixtapes and collaborating with other musicians. Peep was admired for the vulnerability of his lyrics, which spoke directly to kids who felt like outcasts or misfits. His music crossed genres from emo rap to alt-rock and even pop-punk. During his lifetime, Peep released just one studio album, 2017's Come Over When You're Sober Part 1. Crybaby, a 2016 mixtape, became a commercial hit after his death, and two more albums, Come Over When You're Sober Part 2 and Everybody's Everything, made up of previously unreleased material, came out posthumously. On November 15, 2017, in Tucson, Arizona, in the midst of his first solo tour, Lil Peep, age 21, was found dead in his tour bus.
He posted a video on Instagram talking about taking 6 Xanax, and another photo showed him with pills on his tongue just hours before his show at The Rock.
The autopsy report revealed he died of a fatal overdose of Xanax and fentanyl. The report noted that Peep had swelling of the brain, likely a symptom of the overdose. If you or anyone you know needs help with addiction issues, help is available. Visit the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website or contact SAMHSA's National Helpline at 1-800-662-HELP 4357.